Morning. Morning.
There we go, little chin chin. Chin chin with no gin in my cup. I tell you, it's still tea. I promise you it's still tea. Welcome to Small Business Chat. I'm really looking forward to this chat, Karen, because it's something that ever since I've known Karen, I think she's been helping me on this journey inadvertently, but I've just been joking her really. And if you don't know, Karen does an amazing chat, her own show on a Tuesday. Well, of course, some of you will know because it's broadcast on your Facebook page. So it's wonderful. But for those that don't know, that's what Karen does. And I've learned so much about businesses that are really focused on balancing that people, planet, profit sort of balance there. And as a consumer myself, I know that I have literally gone from little awareness to sort of like trying to build up. And what I've learned so much from you, Karen, is more so about how to take those smaller steps, introducing really innovative businesses to my realm of consciousness and hopefully to yours as well. So hopefully you're all following and listening to Karen's chat there. But also I think there's a question that's going on in my mind going, more people need to be doing this. And so we're trying to balance the two. So I wanted to speak to Karen. Maybe tell me a little bit more about the sort of guests that you've had on this show, and like talk about that a little bit more, and sort of also your journey in terms of eco, like because you've built this community, you've joined a community over the years, like 10, I think 10, 11 years I've been, and perhaps longer than that. Tell me a little bit more about your eco journey and how you're pulling people together and what you're able to showcase.
Okay, so yeah, the Hub show is, I think it started a couple of months after we started this one actually, so that was in May last year. So that runs weekly as well, Tuesday at 11 for 10 minutes. So it's kind of bite-sized chunks, and I interview various business owners, from marketers to PR to branding, photography, wellness, people in the sustainability sector, eco-influencers, people who sell eco products. It's a variety of things, and they sort of giving their tips on their small business and how they run it, and their sort of tips to make it a bit more greener as well. So yeah, so there's some real gems in there, and I've interviewed some amazing people and got some great ones still lined up. So yeah, so from that point of view, it's really kind of, I mean, I'm learning all the time as well, because I'm getting those people on. I'm sort of, I'm learning stuff every day. I guess where my sort of eco journey in the business world started, yeah, I've been working for myself since 2009, but initially I was working, I set up a creative agency, and there was a couple of us running that for until 2014. And then I set up HubFizz, and it was then I think that I wanted to really go down that route of working with ethical, sustainable businesses, and kind of always kept kind of trying to narrow that niche even more to kind of work with really people with the, real passion and eco mindset. So yeah, so sort of slowly building it up. And I think what was happening is I moved up to Norwich. I was quite new in Norfolk and didn't really know many people locally, got to meet a few people. But what I noticed was missing was there was no kind of, I was going to different networking groups, but what was missing, there was no one who was kind of had similar values to me. And I kept sort of looking around and wasn't finding that. So I set one up. If there's no one there, if you can't go to them, bring them to you. So me and another lady, Gail Domain, we set up the Eco Meetup Norwich, and it went fantastically. So monthly meetups locally. Obviously it went down a little bit when everything went online because everyone liked meeting in person. But yeah, then again, just learning so much more because you're meeting other people who are actually, really, I mean, eco kings and queens, I call them, that I sort of look up to. So yeah, so looking at building communities like that has taught me so much. There's a Facebook group that supports that. But I think just it is really hard to sort of go down that eco journey and find those sort of people. So I would say first of all, just start out by looking for a community like that. Look for a networking group that's got those sort of people. If there's not one in your area, set one up, because I'm telling you, there'll be people who come to you, like they came to me and said, oh my goodness, I've been looking for something like this, thank you for setting it up. Or just look at local little Facebook groups. There's plenty of them out there.
Well, since I've kind of learned from you, that's something that I've done, is sort of like greener spaces, and like there's something for Bromley, and then it just expands, I think, across the country, to be honest. And it's just to help people battle sort of like just solutions. Like if somebody's going, look, I'm looking for party decorations and I don't know what's the best sustainable company that I could possibly use, and then people are just putting in all their recommendations, and it's really helpful just to find those quick fixes. But yeah, I've absolutely loved your talks, and I learn every week, and I really make a point of trying to do that. And the guest that you've had, it is just amazing. And what I particularly liked is that from small businesses that are maybe serving their community or just a very small clientele, to sort of like much bigger like more established small companies that are doing sort of greater reach, which is wonderful. And they're still trying to get their awareness out there and then hopefully make that change. So I'd love to know, question for you is, we see that there's so much work to be done. Like who do you think, out of who you've interviewed, probably putting on the spot here, but out of who you've interviewed, like who would you say is like, you're going to be hearing about these guys pretty soon, or actually you won't hear about them because they're more behind the scenes, but the work that they're doing is so much more impactful and you should check them out? Like, I suppose a couple of people that you might have.
Ooh, there's lots. I mean, they all really great, and they're all doing their things in little ways, and the smaller ones, are making a real great impact locally and with their customers. I'd say some of the ones that are making bigger waves that I've interviewed are the accounting firm, Triple Bottom Line Accounting, because what they're doing is they've actually introduced an impact narrative service now as well. They've been documenting their journey all the way through and blogging about it, so they're showing how they're making these little steps in their business, and they're not talking the talk, they're walking the walk. And they're putting it up on their website, they're sharing it out on blogs and social media, so I can see them, they're expanding quite a lot. Other people I've had on, like Maxim from Strudels, who's obviously the pasta straws, and but the whole philosophy behind that is, one strudel at a time, just making one small eco change at a time. Small steps, collectively make a big difference. Another lady I've had on, Virginia Cinquemani, again, she's very active on LinkedIn, doing live talks and interviewing some fantastic people. So she's in the more big corporate sustainability world, but she's doing an apprenticeship now, sort of to bring on sort of younger people who want to then train up to go and work in sustainability roles in the world. So I think I've got that right. But yeah, so she's definitely one who's sort of really making waves up there. But honestly, I mean, all of the people I've had on there, it's
a hard question. Sorry.
So it is so hard. And I mean, what I would say to that, some of these, small businesses that are, that they can make a much bigger impact if they're getting the support from people, if they're doing a bit of research, they're making sure that their brand's done well, their website's done well, their marketing is doing well, getting some PR out there and telling their story. Because I think, sometimes I get tied up in that, but, because they're so busy, like all of us are as business owners, but, they've got such a great story to tell. And I think sometimes if they had a bit of help, they could really take that so far.
Get the word out more and actually be more on the speaking platforms, as it were. In fact, I'm going to say the word, and I know that you're not on there and you're probably going to spit at me, but Clubhouse has been really interesting for me, and I can't wait until you join, because I've already been like, I think I was like, this guy's on Clubhouse, you should follow him, like on LinkedIn. But yeah, I'm learning so much, but also as a consumer, or like, as a member of the public, and what I'm seeing and what I'm not seeing, as my awareness grows, I get more frustrated that more people aren't following this way, because this sounds quite dramatic, but we have a deadline, in terms of how we need to turn around climate change, and it's not so much for us, it will be for future generations, but also humankind. It's not, I mean, I've got a very looking at how the planet has regenerated itself during a pandemic, when there's no intervention from human disruption, and then seeing, in my mind, I'm thinking, Earth is gonna, like, Mother Earth is just gonna grow again, but we're the ones that are gonna suffer. And it's going to be becoming problematic. So when I've got that deadline and I get frustrated that we're not doing more as consumers, but equally I see these small companies doing so much, where's the balance? Like, you could see government, you can see these bigger corporations, and again through Clubhouse I've got a bit more respect for the bigger companies, dare I say, because they're facing much more red tape to turn things round. So for example, if you are trying to look at packaging, for example, it's trying to find the solution is a lot harder. But then I'm reading stuff like Positive News, where this amazing child, she is like so young, in Africa has managed to take plastic that cannot be recycled and transform them into building bricks, those that are stronger than. So in my head as a consumer, can help me, like, how do we marry the two up? Because we've got some amazing innovative solopreneurs, small businesses that are finding these solutions. Is it a case of they're not speaking to the right people to find these solutions, or do you think it gets more difficult as we get up, so therefore the message isn't being passed on to us?
Yeah, I think when you come across stuff like that, just share, because the more people that see it, the more reach it gets. Obviously, the bigger people are going to take notice, and philanthropists or maybe organizations like Ellen MacArthur Foundation, or a lot of those sort of those bigger non-profits and charities can then go out and help those people and develop that product and bring it to the mainstream. So I think there is stuff like that going on, that we don't always hear about, but then is it happening fast enough? And I think there is a responsibility from everywhere. I don't think it should just be up to us to just always go out and to make those choices. It's also got to come from the top down. So it's looking at it from both approaches, and keep putting pressure on, signing petitions or doing whatever you can do to try and kind of push bigger companies and that to change. And I think we are seeing a lot of that happening now, because a lot of them are going B Corp, which is the B Corp certificate to show their sustainability, and they do have to report on that. So they're having to be a lot more transparent, and they're having to show what they're doing, and consumers are demanding it more. So because it's really hard I know people are single moms, got a couple of kids, they're trying to homeschool them, and then they've got to go and research and try and find an ethical eco product. They're struggling, one, with sort of affordability, and two, with convenience. So these bigger companies and supermarkets and stuff like that, I think, do have to step up and provide more eco alternatives, because you are going to get a lot of people who just go and buy what's there because it's convenient and it's cheap.
And also, well, it brings on to 2 points actually. So I was, again, through you guys, learning a little bit, and also through another client, a more sustainably focused client, learned about B Corp, learning about that there are organisations out there, and even if you can't afford to do it just yet, there are steps in process. We've got Nancy next week, so Nancy's going to come on, and I've learned lots from her. But again, it's to know that Ocado, I think it's Ocado, it's one of the supermarkets, is going to have like a B Corp aisle. So it's actually going to be, again, I think that's a huge step, so that people who've never heard of B Corp will be like, it's a bit like having that vegan free from aisle. Like, oh my God, like for some of us that are inflicted with having to go through to see it, it was like, it's here, thank God. And now more people, I noticed during lockdown, some of you were having my free from pasta. Yeah, I noticed that. But again, it's awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where it is. And if the bigger players come in and say that this is important, that's great. But it also brings me on to my next question for you. So I see it from a marketing PR point of view, but we are so strapped for time, and we probably don't have the time to do the research, that when a client says, when a company says we're eco-friendly, and they put they turn their products green, they put a great big sticker on it, and so time poor single mum might just go, right, look, that's a good option, and just throw it into the basket. That's something we need to be aware of, because actually what we're finding out is that it's a marketing almost gimmick, it's almost farcical, because it could be that there's so many other aspects in that production that hasn't been considered, or it just doesn't work as effectively. So I think the question again from you, from a business point of view, is how can we hold them accountable, or what could we be doing as consumers to delve down a little bit deeper? Like, what sort of processes would you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, and there's a story I can tell about that, because a friend of mine actually bought from one of these companies. Now, it was a toss-up. It was go on Amazon, get them for $6.99, or go on this company which was British and said they were eco, blah blah blah, double the price. Conundrum. Okay, well, I'm going to go and support the eco one. I'm going to, because I want them to be sustainable and whatever, and they're, it's local and everything, so let's support them. Anyway, I mean, she had nothing but problems with deliveries, customer service, etc. Eventually it came with it just, so these things were wraps, eco-friendly wraps. They came in plastic with no packaging, no instructions or anything, because she went for the deal 2 for 1. Wow. So that she could maybe give one as a gift. She was like, well, I can't give it as a gift. And she was absolutely furious and told me the story. She emailed them back and told them, I was trying to support you and you guys big eco and everything, but to me this sounds like greenwashing. You've jumped on the bandwagon and you're just promoting it because you can, and you can charge a higher price for it. So I think they were just imported directly from China. So there is some research, but she said she didn't know, because she read all the blurb on the website. It sounded really legit. Yeah. So there are sites like, I think, ethicalconsumer.org, that you can go and look at all of these. Or follow some of the eco influencers, find out, go to some of these Facebook groups, and post questions in there and ask, or find out who's an eco influencer that you can follow and get all those sort of great tips of where to go and where not to go before you buy. Really, I think it is hard, because it takes time and research, and I think one of the worst things you can do is go and jump into a group which is like Journey to Zero Waste, and you've never done anything. Because you'll just be like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed and I can't keep up, and then you'll just give up. So I think just pick maybe 1 or 2, see which one gels for you, then stick with one, and just go at your own pace, because you can get really overwhelmed.
And I suppose again, it's easy for us to say, isn't it? But it's like, read more. I know that there are some really good magazines out there, or like you said, there are bloggers that are testing the product to make sure that it is of quality, because ultimately there's absolutely no point buying, like I know that my conditioner that I buy is amazing, and I'm as much as I love the planet, like, you have to have a product that works. So as lovely as the packaging is, if it doesn't work, I'm not going to buy it again. And we're fickle as consumers, so making sure that the product works is a good thing. So I suppose doing the product reviews as a consumer is a wonderful thing, and especially if you're a business to invest in working with those groups. Again, from a PR perspective, I know that that's worked really well, and then getting that media buy-in, because the more and more people, I know that if there's a journalist I know, and Lizzie Rivera does Live Frankly, and she does a bit more investigative searches on sort of like farming practices, and like, if you say you're ethical, or actually even some brands she might be doing some more for her other job. Again, it's just things that I'm aware of, who I've come across, but she'll do a much more stringent view that even if you are B Corp, there might be some element that's not perfect, but as long as they're trying, at least you're trying and going through it. And I think that's the other thing, as consumers, I think trying to expect brands to be 100% right straight away, this is just far too complex, and if we can't take it on board as just everyday consumers of trying to make the change, and not enough of us are, then actually to have that conversation and to do that research can be quite overwhelming. So find the experts that can. But greenwashing for me is, are there any other, I suppose, are there any other simpler tips? So, we see something at face value, and, it says it's eco, or a range has just got a new sustainable clothing line out. I suppose the only way that we could do it is just do a bit of research, isn't it? That's the only thing.
Research, get ask people for feedback, you know, try and check out reviews, see if they're legit. I mean, again, it's sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and test the product sometimes. You know, you're talking about, well, actually it has to work. Now, I've watched loads and loads of reviews on all the different vegan cheeses you can get at supermarkets, and they all go, oh, this is amazing. And, you know, they're testing. I thought, okay, I'll watch at least 10 of them. And they're all like, oh, no, this one definitely. Honestly, I got it. It was horrific. so I was just like, why are they doing these reviews? Are they being paid to do these reviews or what? Because I'm sorry, but that is not, that does not taste nice.
Do you have long-term COVID? Lost your sense of taste and smell? What are you? This is what? Yeah. Why are you making it taste this evil? Yeah. I think there's some.
And another one is deodorant, right? Okay, I want a deodorant that really works well, and they're like, oh, honestly, this one will, and I've been told this one will work. I know there's this woman who's a really famous fitness person, and she runs every day, and she uses it. It doesn't work. I wasted £6 getting that deodorant, which is, isn't it? So, you know, I'm still guys, I'm still looking for a really good eco deodorant that actually works.
The face of a disappointed consumer. I'm sorry to laugh, but it was just very much, it doesn't work. Yeah, test and try.
You know, but again, everyone's different, and maybe it might work for one, not another. So in some cases you're going to try something and it's not going to work, and it's sort of trial and error. But I just had to put that in there.
I think as well, so just to sort of like sum up, because I feel like I could talk to you about this like for hours, but we don't have hours. No. But what I would say is that Karen has, like I said, this show is brilliant. I love watching it every like Tuesday. You can catch it again. You put it on YouTube as well. So at that point, you know, you can delve in and find out a little bit more about who it is working, what their challenges are, and, you know, how they're coming up with their own solutions, which is the inspiring part for me, is that the fact that they can come up with a solution. I mean, I'm also, you know, the brand that I worked with for Sony, it's like, you know, they took their manufacturing in-house because everyone else was telling them no. And it's like, actually, we really believe in this, so we're going to do it. We're just going to bring it in. And it's stuff like, I feel like there's so much more determination from smaller businesses to get this right and drive this forward. But actually, that's why I think that it will inspire you to review your ways, change your ways, but then also, again, listen to them about what's right, what's, you know, what's possible, and like you say, get the community, read up on it. You know, I think as consumers we want everything done from us, and I get that, but, you know, just seeing that this discussion is perhaps hopefully advising the companies, you've got to do the marketing and also make it really super clear and just very simple as to this is what we're doing, and that it's done for you. I think that's the brilliant thing. And then
now, and people are coming out with more different apps and stuff to make it easier. So I know there was one talk of one called Join Beagle. I don't know how far they've got with it, but that's supposedly you can have that in your browser, and when you search for something, it offers you an alternative eco long-lasting product. Join Beagle.
Okay, amazing.
So I know it was in development. I'm yet to check it out again. But again, there will be these tools that are coming out more and more and make it easier and easier for you. So when you're searching for something, you know, it'll hopefully provide an alternative, more eco product. So, you know, make it more convenient for people. So yeah, I think the thing is as well is just to, you know, you can't dictate to other people as well. You've just got to be aware that everyone's at different points on their journey. So it's about educating, not dictating, and finding a group that works for you. So if you find that people are a bit sort of, you go into a group and people are a bit sort of, you know, you can't be doing that, you must do it like this, you know, and that doesn't fit for you, find another one, you know, that does. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I always do. I'm finding this subject more and more fascinating and again enlightening, but equally there is that line of, I don't think, almost this desperation of what do we have to do to change, like to get people changing. And I think that is part of our responsibility. But then also, if you are a business, again, some of the businesses that we've worked with, how do we get you up to that table, and how do you need to present yourself? I think it's really quite key, so that we can expand that reach and also work collaboratively together. I think as well, when you get to the top of the group, you know, working with other businesses, collaboration, not competition, to find those solutions. I think that's going to be a really powerful way of working forwards, because I think there comes a point where it's actually beyond your own business. It's actually, because there's a much bigger mission here, that actually, if you know, if you're, and I'm seeing it more with the small businesses where they're happy to collaborate, but I think definitely with the brands that I'm listening to, even they're willing to do it because they understand, but equally they have to do their own work and their own journey, and also hold themselves accountable.
Yeah, but there's always a different angle. So, you know, it's collaborating with your competition. You know, there's to me, there's not any such thing as competition. You know, there's always different. Everyone's got different expertise and a different kind of ideal clients and stuff like that. So yeah, like you say, coming together, and it doesn't even have to be people of this in the same aspect. You know, so say for example, you're a yoga teacher or something like that. You could be selling someone's eco products through your yoga, or packaging things up that you can sell online. You know, get a yoga lesson, you'll also get sent a little, bar of eco soap or something. So it's diversifying your product range like that as well, and it will make you more resilient too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed your time and your expertise and your insights over the years. And I'm always like picking her brains for stuff, going, tell me more. I did actually.
You teach me stuff all the time as well. I think there's so much we can teach each other. So much to learn.
So if you find what Karen's saying, again, Karen's a great source. I would honestly, if you're on my page watching this, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube, I would follow Karen. And just really, it's a wonderful and gentle intro to the world, I think, which I think some of us need, just how to get started. And it's just one thing at a time, isn't it? So, and we'll move things forward. Thanks so much, Karen. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.